Okay, in previous lessons, we have been talking about Elisha and some interactions between him and people from the country of Aram. It never names the king in those previous stories. His name just hasn't survived throughout history. In today's story, though, the Bible gives us a name for the king of Aram. So I think we've changed kings. I think the last king learned his lesson not to mess with Israel. Leave them alone. There is a new king whose name is Ben-Hadad, which in Hebrew would mean son of Hadad. He is now king, and he has decided he's going to take on this pesky city of Samaria and conquer them. So he goes up to Samaria. He surrounds the city with his army, and he lays siege to it. So no food can come in and out of the army, in and out of the city, and people are beginning to get hungry. The Bible says that they were selling bird manure for food because they had nothing else to eat. And in fact, one day when the king was walking on the wall of the city, a woman came up and said, "I've got a problem. I need you to interfere. I need you to take care of this. My roommate and I both had sons, and we agreed we would cook and eat our sons. So we ate mine yesterday, but now she's hidden hers and won't let me eat him." Well, this upset the king for some reason. But that's how desperate that they were for food. They were turning to cannibalism. The king's response to this was, "I'm going to kill Elisha." I lost the logic on why he's going to kill Elisha because Ben-Hadad is surrounding the city, but that was his response. At the time that this is happening, Elisha is in his house with some of the leaders for the city, and he says, "You know what? I think you, my servant over there, go lock the door, because there's a murderer has sent his messenger here, and he wants to kill me, and he's going to be right behind the messenger. So just lock the door and don't let him in." The king's messenger showed up, demanded Elisha come see the king. Elisha said, "Ah." The king showed up and demanded that Elisha come out because he wanted to kill him. Elisha said, "You know what, king? Don't worry about it. God's in charge. By this time tomorrow, there will be so much food in the city that you'll be able to buy 6 quarts of wheat for just a little bit of money." Well, the king's right-hand man, who was with him, said, "That is impossible. Even if God opened a trapdoor in heaven and dropped food in the city, that could not possibly happen. It can't happen." Elisha said, "You know what? You will see it happen, but you won't get to taste any of the food." Meanwhile, at the gate of the city, 4 lepers were living. Now, the Mosaic law said if you had been diagnosed with leprosy, which was a term that covered several different skin diseases, highly contagious. Some we can cure with antibiotics now, but some we still can't cure. So if you had leprosy, you had to live outside the city, so you didn't contaminate the whole city. So there were 4 lepers living outside the city. A comedian I heard when I was a teenager named them Harley, Farley, Charlie, and Claude. And so that's the names I know them by. Those are not biblical names. It's just the names that I know them by, so I remember this part of this story. So Harley, Farley, and Charlie and Claude are sitting outside the city, and they say, "You know what, if we stay here, we're going to starve to death. We could go into the city, but then we'd starve to death. So we could go out to the army of Aram and turn ourselves in, and they might kill us, and they might feed us. But since we're going to die anyway, we might as well just go do that. So they gave a chance. They got up and they walked out to the army that was surrounding the city. And when they got there, there was nobody there. The horses were there. The mules were there. Ox had pulled carts were there. All the tents were there. The tents had all the clothes and the food and the gold and the silver and the weapons, and everything was there. But there were no humans there. The Bible tells us God had caused the army to hear the sound of a larger army coming over the hills to attack them. And when they heard the noise, they said, Israel hired the Egyptians to come beat us up. And they ran away. They didn't even take time to get on their horses to ride away. They just ran. So there was no one from Aram was anywhere to be seen. So Harley, Farley, Charlie, and Claude went into the first tent, and they ate, and they had a feast, and they took the gold and the silver, and they hid it, and they went to the next tent, and they ate, and they enjoyed it all, and then they said, you know what? We're not being very nice people, because everyone in the city is going hungry. If we don't do something to help the people in the city, God's going to punish us by sunrise. So, let's go fix this. They went to the city. They told the people in the city what they had seen. The king said, you know what's happened is the army is just hiding, and they're waiting for us to open the gate and come out, and then they're going to attack us and kill us. But they decided that they had to risk it. They sent 5 army officials out to see what was going on. I mean, the worst that could happen would be the enemy army killed them, which they're going to die in the city from hunger anyway. So they went out. They found out there really was no army there. There were no humans there. So the king said, this is what we're going to do. My right-hand man here is going to sit at the gate and control the traffic leaving the city so everyone can go get some food to eat. When the people heard that there was food outside the city, they stampeded. And they hit that gate with such a mass of people, they knocked the right-hand man down, and they trampled him to death. So just like Elisha had said, he saw the food, he saw the salvation of the Lord, but he didn't get to enjoy it at all. Now, how much different would his story have been if he had believed Elisha, or even just kept his mouth shut? He might have actually got to eat and enjoy all the benefits, but he didn't, so he lost everything. So God delivered Israel in quite a miraculous way and took care of his people. Let's sing our song. Jesus, Jesus.